and I'm donating the first $200,000 raised from my book to that cause. I'm not putting one dime in my own pocket. So not only can my book do-over get you started on the right track for your do-over, it can give someone a little less fortunate a second chance as well. How I came up with this cause is actually part of the lesson today. Back in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit, I remember watching the TV and seeing these just really disturbing images. People on their roofs screaming for help, people neck high in water, just trying to get to safety, and watching bodies float down the streets. It was amazing, and I've never been touched so much in my life. I've never really had a political bone in my life. I've never really been too interested in anything other than myself and my own business and my own pursuits and my own family and my own friends. Outside of that, I didn't have a whole lot of interest in anything else until that moment. And that was that's 5 years ago now. And it just really struck me. I remember looking at the TV and I was like, these are Americans. These are Americans in America in need of help and not getting it. I was just inspired and moved to do something about it. So I committed. I just declared one day, I am going to make a difference there. I am going to contribute at least one house. And so that's what I committed to, 5 years ago. And I haven't done it yet. I've tried a few different money-raising ventures to little to no avail. And then I came up with, you know what? I'm writing my book. Why don't I use that? Why don't I combine my passion with this great cause and see how I can make them work together? So that's how I came up with that and how I put them together. And so I just started to think of things that are bigger than myself. I read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big a while back, and it had really changed my life. And shortly after I read that book, I attended a seminar where there was a dentist that stood up and told his life story. And a couple years previous to when he was speaking, he had started an organization called Homeless Not Toothless. And I think you can go see his organization and how it's grown, homelessnottoothless.org. It's grown nationally, I'm pretty sure of. And what his organization does is it provides free dental care to the homeless. And he was sharing a conversation that he had with one of his homeless patients. And the homeless patient had shared a story about how he was fortunate enough to meet both Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi in his lifetime. I mean, how impactful, how blessed what was he to meet those two guys in his lifetime. And he went on to tell the story, and he had asked both of them the exact same question. I mean, it was a really ballsy question. I can't believe he asked this. I don't know if I could have even opened my mouth to ask this question to those two guys. But he'd asked them, Dr. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, at separate times, of course, they weren't together. If you were to live your life over, what would you do differently? Wow. I mean, one man liberated an entire country, and another man made a significant difference in the civil rights for all of mankind. I mean, how much more do you want from them? That's why I think it was a ballsy question. But anyway, what was remarkable about this story was Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King's answer were identical. If I were to live my life over again, I would have dreamed bigger. And that literally stopped me. I mean, it completely floored me. I mean, the hairs on my arms still stand up when I tell the story, and they're standing up right now. And it made me think about all the small little things that occupy my mind on a daily basis. Like, really, how small in comparison to what's going on in the world, how small is worrying about your mortgage, or worrying about a car payment, or worrying about a dumb little argument you had with your girlfriend or your spouse, or all those small little things that essentially ruin our days, and they take up our time, and they really prevent us from living life to the fullest. So I was like, you know what? I need to start thinking bigger. I need to think about something bigger than myself, bigger than all my small little problems. And that's how I came up with Rebuild the Bayou, by the way. And then that whole idea was further developed by this great book, The Magic of Thinking Big. The main concept of the book was that beliefs, your thoughts, they do not discriminate. Very much they compare it to the law of gravity. The law of gravity, if you were to jump off a building, the law of gravity would not care. The law of gravity would not care if you were short, tall, ugly, attractive, rich, poor, dumb, smart. It wouldn't care. You are going to hit the ground. The law of gravity does not discriminate. And your beliefs and your thoughts act in very much the same way. They don't discriminate either. So successful thoughts lead to successful results. Mediocre thoughts lead to mediocre results. Negative thoughts lead to negative results. Small thoughts lead to small results. Big thoughts lead to big results. Beliefs are beliefs. And it takes no more effort to believe in success than it does failure. That's the great news. What's great about that is you get to choose what you believe in. You get to choose. So in a nutshell, you are what you think about most of the time. So I've made a conscious effort to just think big. Think big, big, big. Regardless of what the negative thoughts in my head might be arguing against it, what the people in my environment might be arguing against it, what the circumstances or what the economy is doing, whatever is out there that's telling me I can't do it, I don't listen. Each show is going to end with a practical application because they say knowledge is power. Well, that's absolutely inaccurate. Knowledge is potential power. Unless you apply that knowledge, you will experience absolutely no power from it. So you have to apply the knowledge. You have to take action on that knowledge to actually produce power. So here's the homework assignment. Think of a time where you were really proud of yourself. Think of a time where you're really, really, really proud. Think of an accomplishment of yours that really excited you. And during this next week, I want you to start thinking about what you can do that would be even bigger. What could you do that would make you even more excited? What could you do where you would end up being even more proud of yourself? And think of how you can do it. Think of how you can do it, not how you can't. Think of how you can do it. Watch those thoughts that argue against it, though, and watch for those people that argue against it. They're everywhere, and unfortunately, a lot of them are the people that are close to us, our family and our friends. So watch out for those people that argue against it. There are quite a few people around me that think I'm naive and completely foolish for thinking that I can generate $200,000 from my book sales to buy a new house for a family displaced by Hurricane Katrina. I'm an unknown author. My distribution is minimal, and they think I'm absolutely foolish and naive and that I don't really have a chance. But you know what? I'm a big thinker now, and I've got faith. And if you follow that up with action, absolutely nothing is impossible. Bruce Springsteen, big thinker, wanted to be a rock star. He had faith. He followed up with action, and today he's a rock star. Robert De Niro, big thinker, and he's got faith, and he followed those both up with action. And today he's one of the greatest actors of our generation. Martin Luther King had a dream of equal rights for all mankind, and we're probably closer to it than we've ever been. A great deal is owed to him because he had that dream. He thought about it. He was a big thinker. If you don't think big, and if you don't have the faith and you don't follow it up with action, life as you're experiencing it is going to remain. Tomorrow is going to be the same as today. If you're happy with that, more power to you. But if you want something different, you've got to follow up your big thoughts with action. So this week, think of something big you can go after. Make sure it's something that excites you, and just start thinking of how it might be accomplished. And just by doing that, you're going to start to create something pretty amazing, and you're going to get your do-over headed in the right direction. Shoot me an email at matt@thedooverguy.com, matt@thedooverguy.com if you're stuck, and I'll see what I can do to help. I'd love to help. I don't want this to be a one-way communication. I want this to be an interacting podcast. So feel free to send me an email at matt@thedooverguy.com, and I'll answer as many of these as I can as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to keep these podcasts somewhat short. I want to get to the point. I want to make sure that I give you a lot of meat. So count on 30 minutes, give or take a few minutes for each episode. And next time, I will be interviewing a great story of rise and fall and rise again. A really great do-over, a great comeback story. He was a successful financial planner. He hit rock bottom due to family health problems, all the way to the point where he was sleeping in his car. And he's pulled himself back up as a very successful real estate investor, and he's doing it using none of his own money, none of his own credit, believe it or not. I don't know how you start a real estate investing career when you don't even have a house to begin with, but he did it. And just here in a little less than 2 years, he already has a net worth of $1 million. He's a shining example of working smart. He's got some really great insight and tips and strategies and techniques to share with you as well. So I am Matt, the Do-Over Guy, and I'll be here next week for your Do-Over.
Thank you for tuning in to Your Do-Over, where the ignored, underestimated, and unknown steps to producing results and making life work are revealed. And remember, knowledge is potential power. Take action on what you learned today. This is not your learn-over. It's your do-over. To view the resources referenced in today's show and to retrieve a complete show transcript, visit www.thedooverguy.com. Stay connected with Matt the Do-Over Guy Theriault on Twitter at The Do-Over Guy and on Facebook at www.facebook.com/doOverGuru.